Land grabbing can be very violent. In the Brazilian case, it's violence by pistoleiros, gunmen, who are hired by more powerful actors, usually large landowners. In Colombia, it's paramilitaries who are sometimes hired by multinationals and who threaten people and, or kill people. In Colombia and Brazil, there has been a large change in land use. There has been the arrival of monocultures. In Colombia, sugarcane; in Brazil, soy. And this leads to pressure on land and to conflicts with local communities who were already living in those areas. It's no coincidence that the main victims are indigenous and people from African descent, because they are at the bottom of society, and they lack the power to resist the land use change. In our consortium, we have social scientific research, as well as legal research by lawyers, as well as environmental research by biologists and toxicologists. The main aim of our research was first to identify the social and environmental harms that occur in the context of this land use change, and at the same time to how can we reduce these conflicts and social and environmental damage. And for example, in Brazil, the federal public prosecutor is very much interested in our data, so it can help prosecution agencies to better enforce the law. If you want to work on the local level, it's really important to work with NGOs. First, you have to understand that communities, they don't really trust anyone because they have been so much abused, their rights have not been respected, so they're very distrustful. So an NGO is important for the trust among the communities. But NGOs are also important for the trust to work with the government. And for example, in both cases we have NGOs who are respected by the communities and who are respected and trusted by the government. So this is crucial. Well, the role of power should not be underestimated in the context of these conflicts. Because the main victims are, again, communities who are at the bottom of society. And they're not taken seriously by, for example, multinationals, and they're not taken seriously by governmental institutions. So that's why we try to improve that. In Colombia, through roundtables. And in Brazil, we had recently a seminar conference where representatives of many forest communities were present, as well as many representatives of governmental institutions. This is important because it gives communities, marginalized communities, access to justice. As governments and also multinationals have very strong public relations policies, and they present their policies as being successful, as being environmentally friendly, and this is not always the true or complete story. So that's why research and publicizing publications about this in English is important. We brought these local stories and experiences about land grabbing and water grabbing and the non-respect of law to the international level.